subscribe, and share.
Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett and I'm the founder and owner of TechViews and Up, and today I'm going to kind of answer a given question with a somewhat quick, detailed answer. Now, as far as this question goes, basically it says that given person, they received a message saying that another device was using the same IP address as their current device, and they were wondering about this. Now, this can happen, but it's not that often they will see it, and it's something that you don't really have to worry about. A lot of people think that, oh, then someone's hacking into my system or someone's hacking into my network or something like that, and that's usually not the case at all. Usually it's just a simple internal fix. And if you don't fix it, a lot of people will just shrug it off at that point. If you don't fix it, it will slow down your internet, or at least your network speed, which will result in your internet. And you could slow down everybody's speed. It's very, very important to make sure that this doesn't happen. I'll get a little bit more into this after the quick break, but let's go into a quick personal advertisement and then jump into the actual thing.
Thanks for sticking around during the ads. Please feel free to click on the icons shown to be taken to areas where you can help us. All links will be below for mobile and other users.
Welcome back. Now, fortunately, this person, they fixed it themselves. You can actually read it. But for the most part, most people won't know how to fix it or how to create the problem in the first place. But let's go into a real quick the actual problem itself. So basically what happens is if you have two things with the same IP address and they're trying to send a message at the same time, which they would, then what would end up happening is you can get what's called a collision. Basically, what is sent out with the data that you get is called packages, and packages are more than less a electron pulse of a certain type. This includes even over-the-air, so Wi-Fi. So what happens is between points, not so much with Wi-Fi, but it happens usually internally if the actual router itself, if it's wired connection, or the actual router itself, or the device side, you'll have something called collisions. That's basically where one pulse hits another pulse, and they basically cancel each other out. This in itself creates problems because usually what will happen is every single device on that given network, no matter how big it is, it will see some negative effect from it. Now, obviously, if you're doing a home network, that is magnified because it's not as many devices and you don't have systems in place to prevent what happens if that does happen. How do you prevent that from affecting as much? So this could slow down every single device on the network, and it could jam up the network in itself. But it's an easy fix. It's not a hacking attack, or at least it's really not. Shouldn't be, but it's something that can happen if you got an oddball router, or you set up your own IP addresses for whatever reason, and that is a big thing that will happen. So let's go into Windows and go into the actual how to get rid of that. It's pretty simple. So what you want to do is go down to the bottom right, and you want to find your network settings. Just right click and go to Open Network and Sharing Center. Now, if you can't find that, then you can go straight into Command Prompt and then find Network and Sharing Center from there. And once you open that up, you need to find either the Wi-Fi or the Ethernet port that your network is going through, and you need to click that. If you can't find that for whatever reason, go to change adapter settings, and then find the adapter. So in this case, you would just right click and go to properties. So again, go in previous, you would just click that and you go to properties. Before you would just go straight properties. So from here, what will happen is you can actually go down into the if you're running a IPv6, then click the IPv6. If you're running IPv4, then just click IPv4. I theorize what's going to end up happening sooner than later. I don't see IPv6 taking over any time in the near future, in 10 years maybe so. But I think what's going to happen is the internet that's coming in is going to be IPv6 and your internal is going to be IPv4, because there's a lot of addresses in IPv4. And for those of you who don't know, reason why you would want one over the other is basically back in the day they thought IPv4 had so many addresses that it could supply the world forever. It turns out that's not true. They didn't really think about your mobile device. They didn't, because there wasn't really any. They didn't think about every little thing will have its own little IPv4 resolution between now and then, if that did happen, which we did. So that's where IPv6 comes in, and there's plenty of devices, or plenty of them for a while. But it's very difficult to remember, and it's very difficult to work with in some aspects. Some aspects it's easier. And so what I think what's going to happen is what's coming into your house is going to be IPv6, and then it's going to be converted over to IPv4. So in case that does happen, if my guess is right, then you still have to just deal with IPv4. But if my guess is wrong and you have a straight IPv6, then what would end up happening is you'll just click IPv6. But let's click IPv4. So if you're on a Windows or really any laptop, desktop, or anything like that, you might want to just do obtain an IP address automatically, or whatever's equivalent for your operating system. And basically what you end up with is the DHCP server, or the Wi-Fi router. It will give out a given IP address per computer. What happens is each device has its own MAC address. So it's basically what an IP address is basically like for us humans. It's like the home address, then the MAC address is each person. So basically the IP address says here's your home address, and then the MAC address, since it doesn't change, it says this is for that device. Now there is a way to spoof it, and I think I do have videos on spoofing it, but in this case I'm not even going to touch into that. So with that in mind, if you're having problems and it is obtained automatically, then what you need to do is you can either go to use or and go back to obtain, or you can go into command prompt, which I'll show you in a second. But first, let's put in a IP address that I am pretty sure that is use. I think this is for my home server that I created in one of my previous videos for to show you how to make a old Windows computer into a server instead of spending a lot of money. So for those of you who don't know, IP address again is It's basically like your home address, then a MAC address is the person, or in this case, it's the where's the actual device located, and then the MAC address is the actual device itself. Then the subnet mask, it's networking. Let's over that. It does have to be right though, and the default gateway has to be the same as your router. Now you can use a DNS, but this is assuming that your DNS is working. DNS is basically a phone book for IP addresses. It's usually on your internet provider side, and if it's not working, then just do an 8x8x8. Just do that, and that's Google. So you'll be using Google as a phone book for the most part for IP addresses. So let's go down to validate and then OK. So in just going into my Wi-Fi router real quick, we can see we didn't have that. So basically we need to find another thing. And a portion of this is going to be blocked out for obvious reasons. Now, I'm not really sure why Windows is not giving me a warning. I've tried this like 3 or 4 times off camera. But for the most part, what normally would happen is you'll get an error coming up here and saying, hey, that some other device on the network has this IP address. You need to pick another one. So if it doesn't tell you that warning, yeah, that would end up happening. And as you see here, we have a collision, so the internet basically just stopped. And kind of prove that, yeah, that is used. So again, it slows down and stuff. So we want to put that as obtained real quick before everybody else gets mad. So let's say that you looked at that and it was all fine. What is the next step? Simple diagnose is you just click diagnose and just sit back and wait. Most things will have this given a exact type of button, and you're going to find about 90% of your problems will be solved with just clicking that, because sometimes it will actually solve it for you, or it'll tell you, hey, here's the problem, like here, do you want me to solve it for you? So this is something that you'll also find with that. So let's go to the other solution. So what we want to do is go into the start and type in. So with this in mind, what we need to do is type in ipconfig and make sure that is an IP address right there and then. In my DHCP, I got a really good router. It already gave me something worthwhile, and we're back to good. But let's just say that we're not sure, and we just want to make sure. Do ipconfig/release, and then ipconfig/renew. You can give that a second or two, and that will give us our new IP address. Now, again, I got a really good router, so it's just going to give me something worthwhile that's easy on it. But for the most part, you may get a different IP address altogether or not. And for the most part, for those of you who don't know what a IPv6 address looks like, this is what it looks like. So this is what I'm talking about. I believe this is probably what's going to end up happening, is that type of line of numbers and stuff is going to come into your house or building, and then it's going to have something converted over to IPv4. I believe that's going to happen. I think that's the best way of doing things, but we'll see. I mean, I'm just one person, and we'll see if everybody else in networking thinks the same. But as far as that goes, that's pretty much a way to fix it right there, is the release and renew. And You can do straight up renew, but it's suggested that you do a release. And then if you want to do it again, then do another IP config and test it, make sure it works. One thing you can do from here is try to ping your default gateway, and you should get very little to no lag at all. So from there, you should pretty much have no problems or very little from here on out with that given exact problem. Again, it's just that a warning that comes up saying, hey, there's multiple devices with this thing. Again, you don't see it always. I did some security modifications with the router, with the computer, so I'm allowed to do things like that because I actually know what I'm doing for the most part. But you will get that error, or at least you should get that error, especially on Windows and OS X, which is Macintosh. But on Linux, there is sometimes you don't see it at all. But again, there is instances where you won't see it on anything else. But anyways, it's been Craig Bennett, founder and owner of TechViews and Up. If you like this, then please like, please subscribe, please share. And please feel free to check out my channel and any other videos that I have. Now, if you don't like this, go ahead and just leave a dislike, but tell me why so I can fix it in future videos. But again, if you've got any questions, comments, whatever, leave it down below. And again, my name is Craig Bennett, founder and owner of TechViews and Up. And I hope you have a great day.